Hi, WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. And today I have something from America again. This is from the Do Good Distillery in Modesto, California. Very seldom that we get things from them online here. And this is the I have to read this right. Benevolent Czar Whisky, cask strength, 59.9% ABV, or as we say in the States, 119.8 proof. Over here in Germany, it's 89 euros, which is about a 95, 96 dollars in the States. I didn't even find it on the website of the Do Good Distillery. Maybe it's a Germany exclusive. Now, John Harrelson actually had his brother-in-law introduced him to whiskey. Paul was a police officer, and he kept on telling Jim, try this and try this and try that, and they both wanted to one day start their own distillery. Unfortunately, Paul died. His nickname was Nighthawk, and they actually had a Do Good whiskey named Do Good rye whiskey, I think it is, named Nighthawk in his honor. And since October 2013, they have been distilling whiskey. They have a 600-gallon pot still that they use for for double distillation. And the interesting thing is that the rest water on there, so if you produce something, it's a 600-gallon, you put in 600 gallons of liquid into that pot still, you distill it, and a lot is left still, even though you have the heads and then the tails and the heart you take and you use to make this. And so what they do is they actually collect this, and then about 2,500, 2,600 gallons of wastewater, including the mash, is sent then to a biogas plant where they actually produce electricity from this. Very, very interesting. All right, so Californians are green. So let's nose this first of all. 59.9%. Ooh. A lot of alcohol, but that's not a problem, but very, very bitter. It's like something that's been burnt. I don't know if you ever had rice and you actually leave it boil and then it burnt onto the bottom of the pan. That's what I'm getting here. Burnt rice. Yep, that's a fairly good description, actually. Burnt rice with a spoonful of honey. Because there's also a sweet note in there as well. But that burnt wood, that burnt rice, that burnt something, that burnt grain really, really disturbs me. I'm not sure what the Tsars, those Russian Kaisers, the Russian kings actually drank. I'm not sure if they knew anything about whiskey or not. I have no idea of the background story of this whiskey. I've looked online in German and in English. I haven't found very much. Benevolent. I have the 01/128, so I guess there's 128 bottles here in Germany. And this was a sample taken from bottle number 1. Not a nose that I'm going to really enjoy, so let's move on to the taste. So 59%, 59.9%. So this is almost in the this is the category of Elijah Craig barrel proof. Very bitter. And then there's smoke. Now, there's basically 3 different things we can talk about here. We can talk about peat. Now, peat, Islay whiskeys, our Lagavulins, our Lafroigs, and so on, they use peat. So the germination process, the malting of that of the barley has to be stopped with heat, and they use the fuel that they have, which was in that on the islands, peat. They smoked, and of course that smokiness transferred in the whiskey. Now in America, we don't have peat. Even if you have something from, let's say, Kavalan from Taiwan, or if you have something from John Paul or Amrut from India and it's peated, that peat actually has been imported from Scotland to those countries to make whiskey just like in Scotland. Now in America, what they do, they usually smoke their whiskeys. So there's something called, for example, brimstone whiskey from Texas. That stuff is so nasty. I think the Whiskey Vault said it's trying to kill you. I really must admit, that is so terrible. You have something else here, Cole Kagan. They use mesquite wood. They smoke the whiskey, and it actually absorbs that smoke. There's a wonderful, wonderful channel. Just type in Whiskey Biscuits Smoke, and you'll actually see them experimenting with 5 different types of wood and how they actually put something on top of that and allow the smoke to influence the whiskey. And after even 10 seconds, it takes on that character, because alcohol grabs those other molecules, especially the smoke molecules, and takes it in there. And so what I have here is I have a smoke. Now with bourbon, sometimes you also talk about smoke, and you talk about when you char a barrel. First of all, usually they're toasted and then they're charred, and that little bit of that smoke that comes from the charred moment of the barrel. Now this is not that. It is not the peat, but it's actually a smoke, and I'm going to guess it's more of a beechwood smoke. Could also be a cherry wood or apple wood. They experiment with different things there at Do Good, but it's probably the beechwood smoke that's influenced in here at a cask strength moment. But that really doesn't explain then the bitterness of this whiskey. So I'm going to take it down to about 50%, 40 something, 48, 49. Now the smoke kicks in a little bit more. This happens all the time, especially in Japanese whiskeys. There's hardly any smoke. You put a little bit of water in there, and just like I talked about, those alcohol molecules grab the smoke, and when we put water in there, we dilute those molecules, and the smoke is released. And this is the case also here. But I get that burnt rice moment still. And let's taste it. There's astringency, which really shouldn't be there, with a chocolate note that it should be there, and then at the end, that smokiness. So let's dilute it down even a little bit more. So I'm going for the 40%. I hope to hit it. Now it's very, very mild on the nose now, much different from the 59.9%. All right, you take it from 60% down to 40%, which means you have to add almost the same amount of water again to get that there. A third of the water, yeah? Now the basic spirit here is very, very nice. Oh, it's very, very nice. It's still a little bit at the end of that burnt rice moment, and I just think it would probably be having they distilled a little bit too long, a little bit too much of the tails. I might be totally wrong. They did smoke it. They put in something that I don't like, but there is a lot of dark chocolate in here, and this is very, very, very acceptable. Now, the price, 89 euros for a cask strength whiskey made in California by the Do Good Distillery, is not out of this world. But yet, I'm not particularly fond of it, so I can't give it a great note. Now, I have a friend, he likes peated, and he also likes smoked whiskeys. Now imagine he has this and he's going to go, okay. Oh, this is like a B-. Now, there's a little bit too much of an astringency, a little bit too much of a bitterness in there for my liking as well as his. But the rest of it is actually very, very nice whiskey. Now, value for money, 89 euros. I can get stuff from Lagavulin and Lafroig and wherever else for a much, much better price. So it's going to be a C- for him. Now, that's a very, very decent review for this. I have no idea if you ever find it on any of your shelves. Maybe it's only a German only thing, or only a distillery gift shop thing. But if you ever have the chance to try the Benevolent 119.8 proof, try it. You might like it. It's not my cup of tea. All right, WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. If I like them, And if I don't like them, I'm still trying them and reporting to you or trying to inform you of what I think about those, but they're only my personal opinion. My question of the day is, I've tried whiskeys from many, many different places. California, Oregon, Washington, Texas, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida. I'm missing some of them. New Mexico, Arizona, California, I mentioned before. There's 12 different states I've tried so far, at least. Now, could you please name some whiskeys that I haven't tried from states that I haven't had anything from? For example, I don't know, Massachusetts. Colorado is one I forgot as well. I've had different things from Colorado, or Utah, or I don't know, Michigan, or Kansas, or North Carolina, or Georgia, or Missouri, and so on. So please name us whatever you can about different whiskeys from different states, maybe the states you actually come from. Things that I haven't had, though I keep my eye out and see if I can find them as well over here. All right, WhiskyJason, whiskey here from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Do Good Distillery. Benevolent is not my cup of tea. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, my videos are published. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.